Hey everybody, so in this video I have given here a scenario and we're just going to go ahead and interpret this data and construct a histogram. Well, two different histograms that pretty much show the same information, the same trend. So right here we have our class intervals. They're in equal increments of 5. And if you're wondering what this symbol is, it just means that it goes from 5 to 10, but not including 10. And same for these. So, and then here we have our frequency, in each interval, how much of whatever we're looking at. In this case, we have a price range and how much sold. So 75 items sold in this price range, 120 this, and so on. And so that's our frequency. So this is pretty much the frequency, and I want to go ahead and talk about what the relative frequency is. And it comes from frequency, and it pretty much relates all these different frequencies using like pretty much a different number system that goes from 0 to 1. And if you add all of the relative frequencies, you get the number 1. So you get a whole. So they're pretty much like all these different fractions that add up to 1. So the way we calculate the relative frequency, first we got to add all the frequencies. So 75 plus 75, that's 150. 120 plus 30, that's 150. So the total is 300. So 300, and then you pretty much going to divide each individual frequency by the total, which is 300, and then you get a fraction, and you add up all these fractions, you should get 1.0 to make sure you got it right. So 75 divided by the total, 75 divided by 300, that's pretty much a fourth, 0.25. 120 divided by 300, you should get 0.4. 75, we already did it, 0.25. And 30 divided by 300 is 0.1. If you notice, you add up all these, what do we get? 0.25 plus 0.25, that's 0.5. 0.1 and 0.4, that's another 0.5. Add those two 0.5s, you get 1.0. So we did it right. Okay, so I'm going to create a histogram that has the y-axis as frequency and another histogram that has the y-axis as relative frequency, and obviously we want our x-axis to be, or axes to be, whatever, x-axis to be price range, which is the class intervals of equal increments of 5. So let's start with the frequency histogram. All right, so what was the frequency of the first interval from 5 to 10, or 5 to 10 not including 10? All right, we look at the frequency, that's 75. You see the y-axis right here. So if that's 100, this is 50, this should be 75. All right, so you got 75 for the first range, first interval. All right, the 10 to 15 interval, we got 120. All right, so that should be, if that's 150, this is 125, a little less than this right here. So that would be something like that. All right, and then the next one, we got 75, so that's exactly the first interval, 75. All right, and then the last one, finally, the 20 to 25, we got 30. So if this is 50, this is 25, should be a little above that 25 mark. So that's around 30. All right. Okay. We could see the trend. It goes a little up and then skews down to the right. So now let's go ahead and construct the relative frequency. So just looking at the table that we made, for the first one we have 0.25. 0.25. This is not... I should have just ranged it from 0 to 0.5. So let's just ignore that part and just take a look at this. All right. So we got the first one goes up to 0.25. All right. Taking a look at the second, we got 0.4, then 0.25, then 0.1. All right. So 0.4, and then again 0.25, and then finally 0.1. That's 0.1, 0.1. You see how it goes up and then dips down like that. Same trend pretty much. They're both equivalent, or they're both valid representations of a histogram resembling data that we have. And that's pretty much to it.